All right, welcome to Talk Tickers. Today, we're digging into LegalZoom's latest quarterly earnings. And let me tell you, this wasn't just a good quarter. This was a statement quarter. LegalZoom basically just told the market that its big pivot to subscriptions, yeah, it's not just working, it's shifting into a whole new gear. And this is the market's reaction, a 31.2% jump in a single day. So what on earth caused that kind of explosive move? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down in this explainer. What happened and what it really means for LegalZoom going forward. Okay, here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll start with the surprise numbers that kicked this all off. Then we'll look at the subscription strategy that's driving everything. After that, we'll analyze the market's big reaction. And we'll wrap up with our take, the next call. All right, Section 1, a surprise quarter. And honestly, surprise might be an understatement. This wasn't some tiny beat. LegalZoom blew past expectations, and that's what really lit the fuse on this rally. So let's look at the headline numbers. The real story here is all about the top line, the revenue. They brought in $192.5 million. Now, the street was expecting something closer to $182.7 million, so they didn't just beat, they crushed it by almost $10 million. Sure, EPS was right in line with consensus at 15 cents, but that revenue number, that's what shouted to everyone that demand is seriously strong right now. But you know, it's not just how much revenue they made, it's where it came from. And this is key. Look at this. Subscription revenue, up 10% year over year. That's way ahead of the growth from their traditional one-time transaction business. And this, right here, is the strategic pivot that investors have been watching for. This is the quality growth they wanted to see. And what happens when you get that kind of high-margin, recurring revenue? Your cash flow machine just turns on. I mean, look at this. Free cash flow surged 82%. 82. That's over $31 million just pouring into the company. It's like pure rocket fuel for their balance sheet and gives them a ton of firepower for the future. So how did they pull this off? Was it just a lucky quarter? Nope, not at all. This is all about a very deliberate strategy that management has been putting into place. Let's deconstruct it. Okay, so CEO Jeff Style laid out a pretty clear, three-pronged attack. First, and most importantly, go all in on subscriptions. Second, change up their marketing and sales to go after customers who are willing to spend more. And third, really lean into AI and their own human experts to build out these premium services where they do the work for you. And if you were listening to the earnings call, you could just feel the confidence coming from management. I mean, they hit their big goal, double-digit subscription growth, a full 6 months ahead of schedule. So when the CEO says, to put it bluntly, our subscription strategy is working, he's not kidding. This isn't just talk anymore. It's delivering results way faster than anyone thought. And this strategy isn't just high-level stuff. They're backing it up with real action. They're rolling out these new premium services like a Compliance Concierge. Think of it as a high-touch service. They're partnering with the big names in AI, like OpenAI. They're really zeroing in on that operational discipline to make sure the business is running lean. It's all part of this bigger mission, right? To stop being just a place you go once to form your company and instead become this essential, ongoing partner that you can't live without. Okay, so the strategy is working. The numbers look great. But what did the market think? Well, let's just say the verdict came in fast, and it was loud and clear. I mean, just look at this. The stock basically exploded overnight. It gapped up right at the open and just kept running, closing more than 31% higher. This wasn't some gradual climb. This was a massive, one-day stamp of approval from Wall Street, basically saying, okay, we see it. We believe the story. And here's how you know it was the big money getting involved. The trading volume went through the roof. We're talking about a jump from around 3.5 million shares to almost 13 million. That's not just everyday traders. That's a huge signal that the big funds, the institutional players, were scrambling to get a piece of this. They weren't just nibbling, they were aggressively buying, which tells you they see some real long-term value here. So that brings us to the most important question. What's next? Where does the stock go from here? It's time for our take, the next call. When you look forward, there are really two stories you can tell about LegalZoom. The bull case is pretty simple. This subscription engine just keeps getting stronger, they keep getting more efficient, and these new AI and premium products get people to spend more money. The bear case? Well, that's all about the broader economy. If things slow down, their one-time transaction business could get hit, and maybe, just maybe, some of those cheaper subscription customers don't stick around. So which story does management believe? Well, they're showing their cards with their guidance. They just bumped up their full-year revenue growth forecast from 5% to 8%. That's a huge jump. And at the same time, they're holding firm on their profitability targets. That's them telling you, we're not just growing, we're growing the right way, and we're confident we can keep it up. So here's our prediction. We think the party isn't over for this stock. The market is just starting to wake up to the fact that this isn't the old cyclical LegalZoom anymore. It's becoming a predictable, high-margin subscription business. And as they keep proving that, we expect investors will be willing to pay a higher price for the stock. The whole narrative is shifting, and the valuation should follow. So because of this accelerating strategy, the fantastic execution we just saw, and that confident outlook from management, we are initiating our rating on LegalZoom at Outperform. It really feels like all the pieces are finally clicking into place here for some serious, sustained growth. And really, this is the billion-dollar question you have to ask yourself as an investor. Is this quarter the moment we'll look back on as the real turning point, the point where LegalZoom finally shed its skin as a cyclical company and became a true, durable legal tech powerhouse? That's what everyone will be watching.
And as always, this is not financial advice.